and our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. And I want to share with you something of an experience that I had 2 weeks ago, which opened up again another area of study that I believe is very essential. It's very critical now for Muslims in our life here in Canada and throughout the world. Last 2 weeks ago, I visited New Jersey. I did a course on the Companions of the Prophet ﷺ in Newark, New Jersey. And I spent a little bit of time in a place called Paterson, New Jersey. And Paterson, New Jersey, quiet as it's kept, has the second largest Arabic-speaking population in the whole of North America. It's the second largest. The largest Arabic-speaking community in North America is in Dearborn, Detroit area, and the second largest is there in New Jersey. And that's something that I was not aware of myself, even though I am from America originally, but I was not aware of the extent of the community there. Also in Newark, New Jersey, there is one of the strongest indigenous Muslim communities. I mean American people, African Americans, white Americans, Hispanics who have become Muslim. It's one of the strongest communities also in North America in terms of numbers. In the city of Newark, New Jersey, especially in the African American community, some people say maybe 75% of the people have either accepted Islam at some point in their life, or somebody in their family accepted Islam, or somebody who they know is a Muslim. So in other words, Islam is a familiar thing. And when you walk the streets as a Muslim in the Newark, New Jersey area, you don't feel strange at all. And people do not feel strange with your presence. But what I noticed from the brothers and sisters who are there, again, is a type of frustration. It's a type of frustration because even though we have large numbers, even though we have masajid, even though we have access to a lot of information, we don't feel that we're getting the results that we deserve to have. And this is similar to the Muslim world itself. When we look at our populations, 26% of the Earth's population, we look at some of the richest people on Earth, we look at countries in strategic positions, but yet there is something on the inside that we're not doing. And as we cry for change, as we cry for political change, and as we cry for economic change, we cry for social change, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has very clearly told us in Surah Al-Ra'd, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change that which is in themselves. And so the first major change that we as individuals and the ummah has to go through is an internal one. It's an internal one. So there's something inside of us that we have to correct. Everything else is in place. It's not about numbers. It's not about youth. Okay, we're ready, but we have to ignite something inside of ourselves. We have to correct something inside of ourselves in order to get victory. And the great Khalifa Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, when he wrote a famous letter to Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anh, when he sent him to the Persians, and he told them that when you face a large enemy like this, the most important issue is not numbers, because they outnumber you. The most important thing is not weapons, because they have better weapons than you. The most important thing is your character and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if our character is better than them, if we are closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, then Allah will give us victory on the ground. But if we are similar to them or worse than them, then they will be victorious over us because they have the numbers and they have the weapons. And so look to yourself first. Look to what are we doing wrong? How can we correct ourselves? And how can we improve? And one of the brothers who I was traveling with, a Palestinian brother, Jazakallah khair, very nice young person coming up, was telling me about the history of Patterson and what they're going through there. And that the people, because of the Muslim presence, people would sleep early in Patterson. And 9 or 10 stores would be closed and people would be sleeping and whatnot. But now some changes are happening. And a new fitna, a new plague has come. And I want to, as we go into this discussion, to make the young people aware of this new plague. And that is the plague of the hookah pipe. There in Patterson now, they've introduced shops where they are smoking the hookah. And you put inside of it Sheesha, right? You put Shisha inside of it. And the hookah has spread so much that now, instead of sleeping early, people stay up smoking this and socializing and whatnot. And so now people go home at 3 in the morning. And now even it spread, wa'iyadhu billah, to women, where women are smoking it in hijab. And so the harm that has come to the community is that criminals from outside of Patterson, who would have never come in the evening in that area, now see the lights on and people there. So criminal activity is entering into the Muslim community. And also the non-Muslims who are there, there's a wrong perception of what Islam actually is. Because, you know, in the non-Muslim countries, especially the countries where it is Christian-based countries, a woman wearing hijab is a holy thing to them. And even though they've left Christianity to a great extent, in the back of their mind, that somebody who wears that is a pious person. But somebody who smokes a pipe is not a pious person in this culture, right? That person is a drug addict or a gangster. So they can't put the thing together and they get the wrong image concerning Islam. The problem Muslims are facing is that sometimes there are issues which are upon us that are not so clear. They're not so clear. And in this case, we need to have guidance. This is how we're going down. In many places, we're not going down because of straight out haram things, but we are going down, or we are failing because of things that have shubha. They have doubt inside of it. And in the light of this, and in the discussion that we had, a particular hadith came up that I have within my 40 hadith of Islamic revival. I have it as hadith number 5, but it is a well-known famous hadith. And this hadith deals with the issue of the shubha, of the doubt, because somebody will say, well, I'm smoking the shisha pipe. It's not hashish. So it's not intoxication. And it has nice, sweet smell. And even the shisha now will have coconut, or it has vanilla, or it has rose. So it has a nice fruit smell. So they say, no, these are fruits. What is wrong with the fruit? And they say there's water in it because the bubbly, right? The hubble bubble. So the water now cleans anything that is wrong in it. And it is a nice, clean type of beautiful smell, incense, type of frankincense, which is going before, which is going into your lungs, and it makes you happy, and you enjoy yourself and whatnot. That is the shubha. That is the doubt. And many times, drugs and things which appear to be, which are evil, when they come to us, they come in a nice package. As they will call, they used to call drugs, they have ecstasy drugs, and they have, you know, names that they will give to the drugs, and their actions are good names. But the Prophet ﷺ, in authentic hadith, An-Nu'man ibn Bashir, he said that he heard the Messenger of Allah ﷺ saying, Al-halalu bayyin wal-haramu bayyin. Wa baynahuma mushabbahatun la ya'lamuha kathirun min an-nas. فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الْمُشَبَّهَاتِ استبرأ لدينه وعرضه ومن وقع في الشبهات كراع يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يواقعه ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى ألا إن حمى الله في أرضه محارمه ألا إن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. This hadith, which is muttafaqun alayh, which is reported in Bukhari and Muslim, has two great areas of benefit. I want to look at one of these areas of benefit and give you a full understanding of it, and the second one, open up a door. The first one is the shubha, the doubt. The hadith is saying that which is lawful is clear, and that which is prohibited is clear. But between them are doubtful matters about which not many people know. This is the Prophet ﷺ speaking to us. So he who avoids the doubtful matters clears himself in regard to his religion and his honor. But he who falls in the doubtful matters falls into that which is prohibited, like the shepherd who pastures around the sanctuary, all but grazing therein. Okay? So when you're in the doubtful areas, it's like a shepherd has the sheep, and the sheep are, around this sanctuary. They're not inside of it, but the sheep are grazing around. Right? They're grazing therein. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, surely every king has a sanctuary, and surely Allah's sanctuary on the earth is his prohibitions. Verily in the body there is a lump of flesh, which if it is in good repair, all of the body will be in good condition, and which if it is corrupted, the whole body is corrupted, and that is the heart. And so this doubtful matter, which is causing such confusion, this is an example of what we need to understand. Number one, for those who have doubt about the hookah, which is the pipe itself, right, and the shisha, right, or the nargil, or the goza, or whatever the name is that you use for it. This is the block of fruit that they put in, but underneath it is tobacco. So it has tobacco. And anybody who tells you that it doesn't have tobacco, is trying to fool you, because the smoke itself needs, the fruit smell needs a medium to carry it. And that is what the tobacco actually brings. What doctors have found out now is that the smoke, which is being breathed in by the person who is smoking the hookah, it contains toxic elements. It contains tar, carbon monoxide, heavy metals, cancer-causing carcinogens, right? These are the things which are in nicotine, and it is clear, the Surgeon General in America, they declared openly that nicotine, that the cigarettes is causing serious problems, health problems within the community. It is cancer-causing, and there's no doubt about that now. But what people don't understand, that when a person, takes 1 hour session in smoking the hookah, they are smoking sometimes 100 to 200 times the amount of smoke is actually going into their body. Not one cigarette, they're smoking packs of cigarettes. The amount of smoke and the amount of the carcinogens that's going inside of the body. Some of the packages say the tar that is in this from the fruit, it's harmless. It can't do anything to you. And that is true. And the brother I was with, Jazakallah khair, he showed very clearly, yes, it's true. But if you light the tar, once the heat hits it, then it turns into a dangerous toxin, a dangerous poison. So people are literally putting the poison in, which can cause lung cancer, mouth cancer, heart disease, because your arteries get clogged, also gum disease. A number of things can happen. Also, the pipe, when the pipes are shared between people and not cleaned properly, they can also cause infections, which include tuberculosis, lung infections, stomach ulcers. The doctors also found out that a person who is a regular smoker of this pipe, smoke going down into them, they found that their babies will have a lesser weight. They studied the children of people who smoke and those who don't smoke, and found that the children who smoke, their babies are 3.5 ounces less in weight than the people who don't smoke. Secondhand smoke, the people who are around you, like smoking cigarettes or other things, they're affected by you. The smoke is in your hands, in your hair, in your clothing. There's also a danger of nicotine addiction. Nicotine addiction. And this is something which is very, very serious in terms of what it does to the lungs and whatnot. They even found out that there's a danger to your skin. It causes wrinkling in the skin, and it also causes sexual impotence, that the man becomes a weakling if he is smoking too much from this. And so based upon the fatwa of the High Committee of Saudi Arabia at the time of Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, when they looked at the nicotine and they looked at the effect, whether it be in cigarettes or whether it would be in the hookah pipe, they declared very openly that this is haram. Before, people said the nicotine is makruh, meaning it is a hateful thing, which is still a terrible thing. It's still, makruh is still the doubt, right? This is the mushabbahat. It's still the doubt, but the haram is very clear. So either way it is wrong. But the ulama looked at the words of the Prophet ﷺ, who said, La dara wa la dirar, that you do not harm people, you do not harm yourself, and that clearly now it is harming the body. If there's any doubt in your mind, the World Health Organization found that in 2008, tobacco smoking, it's killing 5.4 million people per year. 14,000 people per day are dying from it. The Shisha, it actually is worse. And Bahrain, in the country of Bahrain, the Anti-Smoking Society, they made it very clear. They even found in some of the Sheesha pesticides used to kill insects and also radioactive substances. Okay, that the burning of the tar, the toxic things, that it is a danger. The water does not filter out those things which are dangerous. And so it is very clear. The second part, which is interesting, that this hadith now is starting off showing that al-halalu bayyin, right, and haram bayyin. It's clear. But there's doubtful things in the middle, inside. That's the dangerous part for us, right? But the Prophet ﷺ said that the sanctuary of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the beautiful fortress of Allah, is protected. It is the things which are prohibited. That gives us a protection against the evils of the dunya. And so the person who falls in these doubtful things is like the shepherd who's around, making his flock come closer and closer. So when the person is in the doubtful area, they come closer and closer to falling into the haram area. Okay? But right after this, the Prophet ﷺ said, very important statement. And this statement has major implications for us. He said, Inna fil jasadi mudgha, idha salahat, salah al jasadu kullu. Wa idha fasadat, fasad al jasadu kullu ala wa hiya al qalb. He said that in the body there is a lump of flesh. If it goes right, the whole body is right. If it is corrupted, the whole body is corrupted, and that is the heart. And this is an issue for us. And I put this to you, especially to the younger generation. We need to find out what it is that's happening to us. We are in a time of tafarruq, of separation. Muslims are separating from each other. Families separating, communities separating, countries separating, even Islamic movements, even people in the field are separating. There's something going on. We have to realize we are in a war. It's not necessarily a physical war. There's a spiritual war that is going on. And that is the dangerous struggle that we find ourselves in, which we can feel, the person can feel, well, I'm enjoying life. There's nothing wrong. But this thing is spreading. And so the heart itself. And for a long time, we looked at the issues of the heart. We tried to understand what this hadith said. Because the hadith said, mudgha. It's a lump of flesh. So the first thing you think of with the mudgha is that you think only what is pumping the blood inside of your body. And that is the essence of the physical heart. But when you read the traditions of the Prophet ﷺ, if you look at the ayat, you look at the different verses from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're talking about something else. The heart is something else. And it is of crucial importance to us that we try to look at this, to study it, and to learn how to protect ourselves from the spiritual war which is happening, which sometimes you can't see it. It can be happening right around you at this point. We have to be able to defend ourselves. Otherwise, we will think that we are doing what is right, but we're actually being divided. We're actually being subjugated and controlled, right, from the inside. The heart itself, the doctors are finding out, is not just a lump of flesh. The heart itself, when the baby is formed, the first part in the embryo, which comes into form, is the cardiovascular system. And the heart itself has qualities. The cells of the heart have something that no other part of the body has. The cells are alive. They pulsate. There's a force inside of the cells of the heart. And it is the pumping of those cells which actually give life to the rest of the body. The doctors now, they can't describe what is in the heart. They call it the L force, the life force. That there's something inside of it, which they don't know where it came from. We understand that there is a force inside of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the malaika, and they will put into the child a ruh, that the soul is inside of the baby from after the 120 days, that the soul is inside, that the life force is there. And it is this life force which unites us. The heart, they understand now, has its own brain. You see, we thought the brain was controlling the body. But the brain is like your computer. The heart itself has a type of electromagnetic force. They can measure the force coming out of your heart. It's electromagnetic force. And this is very interesting, because the Prophet ﷺ, when people lined up, he's telling them, shoulder to shoulder. Be not divided, so your hearts will not be divided. Why did he say your heart's not divided? You see? Why did he not say that you will not be divided? Why is this coming up? And you will see it coming in our sources. How crucial the heart is in terms of where we are going. So the heart has its own understanding. The heart has its own commands. And it actually gives commands to the brain. There are more decisions that are made in your heart than in your brain. People think, no, it's the brain. My brain is my computer. But the Prophet ﷺ, when a man came to him and asked him about birr, asked him about righteousness, he told him, istafti qalbak. Ask your heart. Why didn't he say, ask your mind? You see? Ask your heart. So the heart is the conscience. Why is this important, what is inside of us? Because as we cry for change, Allah Azza wa Jal told us, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change that which is in themselves. So the change has to come about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed in the 22nd chapter, and you'll see many things about the heart. Very interesting in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ allati fi sudur. Look at this. We read these verses. We have to try to understand what Allah is telling us. It said, do they not travel through the land so that their hearts may learn wisdom? Yaqiluna biha. You see, it didn't say their brain. It said their hearts will learn wisdom, right? And their ears may thus learn to hear. Then Allah said, truly it is not their eyes that are blind, but their hearts that are in their chest. So a person could be blind physically, but they can see, because their heart is the one that truly sees. You see, that is the spiritual side. Why is this important? Why is it important? Because the hearts can be diseased. And if the hearts are diseased, as we learned, everything is going to go wrong. إِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. Right? If they become corrupted and diseased, everything is going to go wrong. Everything will happen. And so, the crucial part of the heart, somebody will say, well, how can the heart be diseased? What are you talking about? Coronary heart disease? He had a heart attack? What are you talking about? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions very clearly in Surah Al-Baqarah, and remember this, speaking about munafiqeen, Allah tells us, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ. So Allah said, in their hearts is a disease. And Allah will increase their disease. And they will have a terrible punishment because of the lies that they carry out. So the internal Muslim, the heart of the Muslim, is crucial for us today. To look inside of ourselves. And this is so important to us because there are clear lessons, and the great ulama of Islam have looked into this, like a doctor who looks at the physical part of the body. What are some of the diseases of the heart? One of the biggest diseases of the heart is al-Kibr. It is pride. And pride is when a person is proud of themselves. Proud of their color, proud of their height, proud of their money, of their family's name, of the language that they speak. Al-Kibr destroys. And the outward form, it starts on the inside. When the person feels, because I am from a such and such a family, then I deserve better than anybody else. You see now that there are a small group of people ruling the whole world. Why do they have millions and billions of dollars, but yet there are other people who are starving to death? Kibr. And it is pride, one of the original sins happening in the beginning of time, when the shaitan, wal iyadhu billah, refused to bow down to Adam alayhi salam, and Allah asked him, why? He said, because you created me from fire, and you created him from clay. You see? Pride. It was pride that knocked him out. And pride is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous quality. The Prophet ﷺ constantly, you will see if you look at his life, he struggled against the pride in individuals. He struggled against it even in himself. When they asked him, who are you? He said, I'm the son of one of your women. A very humble answer. When you come into Medina and you look at the circles, you can't even tell which one is Rasulullah ﷺ until he begins to teach. Right? So humility, strength. Right? You're humble but strong. That is the qualities that we want now. Okay? So pride is dangerous. The outward form of al-Kibr is takabbur. And that is the arrogance. And the person who is proud now, the arrogance shows they look at people in a mean way. They kick them around. They think that they deserve more. They push people. That's the arrogance, right, that comes out, right? And this is a dangerous thing. It is a disease of the heart. It will corrupt and destroy everything in that person's life. how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? The ulama tell us, for all of these diseases of the heart, there is a knowledge cure and there is an action cure. The knowledge cure for pride is to reflect upon our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where did we come from? Look back at the human being. Once we were a tiny clot of blood, right? And now we stand up. People stand up and defy their Lord, right? But where did they start off? You see, very humble. And we come from a humble place. We get strong, and then we get weaker and weaker and weaker, and we will return. No matter how rich you are, how famous you are, you have to leave this earth in a humble way. You will come out of this earth. So what are we proud about? So the first thing is understanding who we are. It's interesting because think about our lives. Okay, especially a person who feels they're physically fit. At any moment, you can drop dead on the ground. There are some people who are professional football players, right? Super Bowl that they're ready to play. Gladiators. And then one day he walks on the field and he just drops dead. Okay, he just has a heart attack and dies. You can drive in your vehicle and gone in a minute. Even the richest person on earth, even the heads of state, will fly in the plane and suddenly the plane crashes. So none of us have really any control over our destiny, you see? So why are we proud? We should be thankful that Allah Azza wa Jal gave us life. We should be thankful for the things that we have. The second part of the cure is the action cure. And the action cure here comes in physically. If we can't control our pride, then we need to do things that humble us. Do hard physical labor. You'll see the Prophet ﷺ in the day of the Khandaq, when they were digging the trench, when the Ahzab was about to attack them, he was carrying the bricks himself. Right? Doing hard labor. Right? Taking the same as everybody takes. A simple life. It is reported Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anh came into the house of the Prophet ﷺ, and Ibn Mas'ud was considered to be probably the closest to Rasulullah ﷺ in the way he looked and the way he acted, the closest one. And he came inside of the house and he saw the Prophet ﷺ and he saw the marks on his back. And he said, can we not give you a nice cushion or something? Can we do something for you? And he said, no, because we are, never forget, you're a traveler. We are travelers. We are here today and gone tomorrow. Right? So never make this. This is not our paradise, right? So the humility, this is the Prophet ﷺ. This is the best of creation, the leader of the prophets. Right? So he gives us the example of humility. Our group of brothers told me at one point they were looking for a great scholar of hadith. He was living in India. And they went to the house and they sat down, and an elderly man came out and gave them water and they washed their hands. Then the elderly man came and gave them food and they ate their food. Then they said, okay, where's the sheikh? 10 minutes later, the same elderly man came back and he said, I'm the sheikh. And he sat down and he began to teach. They were amazed at his knowledge. But you see what he did? He killed his pride. He killed his pride. He has knowledge, an ocean of knowledge over them. Right? But he served them like a slave. Right? So he killed the pride within himself. So part of this issue of al-Kibr, part of it is that we need to take action. We need to take action against this. The second one I want to look at with little details because of time. This is a long study, which inshallah we hope to do more with you. The second one I want to look at tonight, because this is an issue which is causing confusion. It's a disease of the heart. It has been recognized by the ulama as a disease of the heart, and that is al-Ghazab. It is anger, uncontrolled emotion. It's uncontrolled emotion. When the person now, because you differ with the opinion, right, or you say something against him, their blood starts to change. And it boils and their skin color changes. Sometimes the worst form, they foam at the mouth. They can't control their body. Right? This ghadab, when a man came to the Prophet ﷺ one time, he said, give me advice. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, La taghdab. Just don't get angry, man. Don't get angry. This anger is a serious thing. And the anger many times causes a confusion between us. And that is the thing that we need to be able to solve in order to resolve our conflicts. We have to resolve our conflicts. We have to be able to forgive each other. But ghadab, you see, when it keeps boiling up, it'll disease your heart. So your heart can't make the right decision, right? Your heart, which is the essence of you, becomes corrupted and spoiled. And so the ghadab itself is a terrible thing. And the knowledge cure, again, the scholars look at the knowledge cure. Think about the anger itself. Why were you angry? What is the cause of the anger? Sometimes when you really look at the cause of the anger, right, it's not really a major thing. But sometimes you got hurt, right? But look at the example of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions who were driven out of their homes, who were killed, who were exiled. But yet they forgave the people of Mecca. They embraced them as their brothers and sisters. You see, they overcame the emotion of the ghadab, because that is something which can cause a major confusion inside of our lives. Also, reflect upon the ghadab itself. What does it make us look like? Think about your form. When the person is angry, if you could take a camera and look at yourself again, look at your face, right? Look at your actions when you're dealing with other people. And this ghadab can happen in the family. The man is angry with his wife, right? Parents angry with children. Now these days, the wife is angry at the man, because some of the wives, they'll kick you out the house. I had a case of a sister in Los Angeles, and she was a really tough sister, right? She was a tough sister. She was like black belt in karate. And she married a brother. He was a very, mashallah, brother, very humble, spiritual brother, right? And she married him, and she was submitting to him. And then she got a letter which came from Japan. I remember this case. The letter came from a girlfriend that he had in Japan. And she got the letter. And she called me at 3 in the morning, and she said, Brother Abdullah, I just knocked him out. I knocked him out. What should I do? I said, subhanallah, the sister knocked her husband out. Like, what do you do, right? That's not a normal case, right? All I could say to her is, la taghdab. Like, don't get angry. Control yourself. You have to control emotions, right? You have to control emotions. What is the action cure? The action cure, the scholars will tell us that if this anger comes on you now, somebody might say something to you, you get into an argument, you say like, my madhab is better than yours, or this or that. You get in an argument, you start feeling it coming, he say, if you're standing up, sit down. Make isti'adha min ash-shaytan, right? Seek refuge from the devil. If you're sitting down, lay down. Okay, make wudu. If that doesn't work, make wudu, like put water on yourself, right? Make wudu. But protect ourselves from this ghadab, because it is causing a major confusion. And you can see that in our countries, many times is this emotion which is causing major conflicts between our jamaats. And that is something that we as an ummah, as well as we as individuals, have to deal with. The heart itself is a fortress. The scholars describe it as a fortress. And there are certain doors to enter the fortress. And they call this madakhil iblis. These are the way that the devil will come into your heart in order to deal with you. I want to just, in conclusion, deal with a few, because I think we're coming to a conclusion now. It's 45. You know what time it is? Yeah. I want to just give you a few. And inshallah, in the future, we can look at it. Al-hasad, jealousy. Shahawat, desires. See, desires can come in your heart and destroy you. Also, being too filled, this is an interesting point. The ulama even said being too filled with food. Right? Being too filled. Don't be too satisfied. Also, at-tama finnas, and that is desiring people to give you glory and fame. You need people to say, oh, he's a good guy, he's a good. And you look now at people who become rock stars or athletes or whatever, most of them turn to drug addicts and criminals because they love the people and they lose their sense of the creator of the heavens and earth. Haste, al-ajala. And the Prophet ﷺ even said, al-ajala min ash-shaytan, that doing things too fast is from the devil. So we need to have sense, take our time when we are doing things. Also, very interesting point. Ibn Qudama al-Maqtazi, rahimahullah, and many of the ulama looked at, they said one of the key entrances now is becoming too fanatic with our school of thought. It's ta'assub. Too fanatic with our Islamic movement or too fanatic with our school of thought. This is Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah. But becoming al-muta'assib, fanatical about my school of thought or about my Islamic movement, it is actually one of the ways that the devil is getting into our hearts. Also, adhan, su'adhan, suspecting other people. We need to go back to the Sunnah. We need to go back to the innocence of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anh reported there was 3 people in Quraysh. They were the best in character. They were the most prominent of the Quraysh. When they spoke to you, they tell you the truth. And when you speak to them, they do not accuse you of lying. Right? They don't suspect you. See it now? Innocence, right? When they speak to you, they'll tell you the truth. Not going to lie to you. And when you speak to them, they're not going to suspect you. If you lie, though, they'll probably find out. But they're not going to suspect you. They have innocence in dealing with other people. And they were kathir al-haya. They had a lot of haya, modesty. They were very humble, modest people, but strong. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Uthman ibn Affan, and Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, radiallahu anhu. These are our shining examples. And this is the innocence of the Sunnah. We need to go back to this to protect ourselves now. It is not the major things that are killing us. It's the shubuhat. It's the doubtful things in the middle, and it is the diseases of the heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these diseases. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts and accept us as believers. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. After Isha, we will have a short session again for those who want to stay. And then for questions and answers about this, will be Billahi Tawfiq.